Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Khadijah Muhammad Isa from International Islamic University. So today I will share with you a question on business income and then business expenses for a sole proprietor, an individual, Mr. Ahmad, for a sole proprietor business in Kuala Lumpur. So given the profit and loss statement, all right, for the year ended 31st December 2024. So this is definitely will be one question in the final exam, right? Similar to this format. So we will be given the profit and loss account with a profit before taxes, right? So look into the profit before tax and then take note of the year end. Take note of the year end, which is 31st December 2024. Yeah. So you were given the profit and loss account, and then you also have notes to the account that you're going to refer to later. But take note of those information without the notes to the accounts. Yeah. For example, we do have your dividend here, right? Dividend without notes to the accounts, and you also have interest on fixed deposit there. And then you have loss from sale of van. You also have zakat without the notes, and you have depreciation. So these are the items that we do not have notes. So means that you have to do the adjustment first before you go to the notes to the accounts, because I'm afraid that if you go straight to the notes to the account without doing the adjustment of the highlighted blue colored, so you may not be able to, you may forget to do adjustment that later. So all right, so we'll look into that first. And then we have notes to the accounts, one until I think that not many, it's only 12. All right, so what are required, of course, starting with profit before tax. So that is the starting from profit before tax, determine the total income for Mr. Ahmad. So total income in this case means that from your aggregate income, then if you have lost, business losses minus approved donation, and then zakat, then only you get your total income. So you should know the format of your chargeable income. So in this case, not chargeable income, but only require up to total income. And more importantly, it says that for item which mentioned in the notes, all right, indicate nil where no adjustment is made. All right. So even though there's no adjustment, you need to put the note, all right, the item in your answer and put a nil there if there is no adjustment. But if there is adjustment, it could be a plus or minus. All right. And again, the marks is 30 marks, so which is a lot. Yeah, a lot. So if you can do this question, at least 30% of your final exam, all right, is already secured, inshallah. Yeah. So let's look at how to do this question. So we have, okay, so first thing that you do that, okay, we have not take note of the year end, 31st December. And then we are going to start with what? We are going to start with profit before tax. How much is it? It's 49,100. So make it a, so in your answer, for example, what I normally do is that I will always have the name of the company at the top. All right. For example, here is the tax, would the requirement ask for a tax computation for YA 2024 for Honeybee Enterprise, right? In this case, Mr. Ahmad lah. So we are going to assess the tax of Honeybee Enterprise as Mr. Ahmad business income, right? And then of course business income, and then you also have, you may have other income. So let's start with the first one, is that we're going to have Mr. Ahmad or Honeybee Enterprise tax computation for YA 2024. Okay, so let's start with the first one, which is the, all right, start with your profit before tax, 49,100. So you just put in that amount 49,100 is this profit before taxation. So that's the first thing that you have to do. And remember that we mentioned that there are few items which are not mentioned, or there's no notes to the accounts. So do that adjustment first. All right. So what are those? We have dividend. What do we have here? Okay, we have our dividend. Oh, besarnya. Control Z. 100. Why is it so big? Kat mana nak tengok ni? Stroke stabilization. Okay, je. Why so big ah? Sama je. Okay. Okay. So dividend. So what is the dividend here? Dividend is section 4C income. All right. And interest on fixed deposit is also 4C income. So when it's a non-4A income, you will have to do adjustment. Yeah. So it means that when you have this 35,000, it means that this one has been added. All right. It has been added in arriving to your profit before tax. So if it has been added, you want to take it out, you're going to minus. All right. You're going to take it out this amount. So what you're going to do is you're going to take out, you're going to minus dividend of 35,000, and you're going to minus interest on fixed deposit of 25,000. So your adjustment would be dividend. All right. See, it's a minus amount. So when it's a minus, you just put in a bracket minus 35,000. Why you minus? Because in arriving to profit here, you have added. So that's why you want to take out that dividend and interest from the computation, because that is not section 4A income. Those two are section 4C income. So take it out first, number one. And then we also have the other one, which is loss from your sale of your van, right? So we have loss from sale of van. So this one is, what is this? This is a capital expenditure, all right? So it's a loss, so that's why it's an expenditure, but this loss is a non-taxable, yeah, because it's a capital loss. So what you have to do is that, remember that this has been deducted in arriving to your profit. So you have deducted. So if you have deducted, you want to take it out from the profit. So that's why all these things, you are going to do adjustment. You have to add back. Yeah. So your adjustment would be loss from sale of van, 4,700. So that's where you have your 4,700 as a, you add amount, right? So that is loss on your, and then we also have your zakat. Okay, so zakat here also have to do adjustment, because zakat is not allowable expenses. It's not incurred in the production of income. So that's why it's not allowed. So it's not allowed. You have to, again, you have to add back, right? So, but then the zakat here is given as a deduction later in arriving to your chargeable in, sorry, this one is this one is an individual, but zakat paid by the company, all right, that will be given as a deduction later. Yeah. All right. And then we have water and electricity. There's note there. What else? Oh, we have depreciation. Another one is depreciation that have to do adjustment. How much is it? It's 13,900. So you have here your depreciation is also at back 13,900. All right. So this is what I will do, because if there is no note to the account, I will attend to those items first, do adjustments, so that now I can focus on my note number one. Okay. So once you have that, see, so all these things without do any computation, already you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 already adjustment. Okay, right. So now remember that you have to go through to the notes to the account. So let's go to the notes to the account and do adjustment from one note to another. All right. So the first note says that included in the cost of sales. All right. If I go to read from my question, all right, here, included in the note, included in the cost of sales was a payment of royalty amounted to 10,000 ringgit. So this one is a payment of royalty of 10,000 to a company from Japan on payment was made on November 15. However, due to technical error, the withholding tax has not been remitted to RIB by the date of submission of income tax return form, and no penalty has been paid. So what happened is that when you have the non-compliance, all right, in this case, whenever we have issue of non-compliance with withholding tax, all right, the amount is non-deductible. What is non-deductible? The royalty. not the 10%, not the withholding tax portion. The amount is non-deductible. Of course, you also have the penalty, but in this case, the penalty is not mentioned, right? So what is in your profit and loss account is only the amount of royalty and the cost of sales here, right? So note number one here, you are the payment of royalty of 10,000 ringgit. But that amount is not allowed because why? You have not complied with your withholding tax. So when it's not complied, so the amount is non-deductible. So what you have to do, you have to add back this amount which is not allowed. All right, so that will be your adjustment number one. So look into your answer here. Your adjustment is you add back your 10,000 royalty. All right. Why penalty is not added? Because penalty is not in your profit and loss account. All right, it's not mentioned that the penalty is included there. So you do not do adjustment for your penalty. All right, you just do adjustment for the non-deductible expense, which is available in your profit and loss account. So that is note number one. Note number two, we have salaries, bonus, and EPM. All right. So remember that who is the owner of the business? Mr. Ahmad. So when there's a payment of any payment to either the partner, the in this case the owner, all right, Mr. Ahmad, or we are talking about partnership, any payment to the partners, all right, are non-deductible expense because that is regarded as a private expenses. So when I say that Mr. Ahmad, there's a bonus or salary of 32,000 and bonus of 4,000. So you know that this amount is not allowed, yeah, because why? It's a private in nature. So that 36,000 is not allowed. So that's why you add back, right? A salary to owner is not allowed. And however, the payment of 7,000 also is not allowed because this one is the payment by the company to Mr. Ahmad EPF account. So that amount is also not allowed. So you have to add back that 7,000. That is regarded as private expenses as well by the enterprise. Yeah. Okay. And then we also have the second one is that we have a payment to Mr. Lim, who is a disabled person. And remember that disabled person payment, any revenue expenses is given as a double deduction. So what it means by double deduction, in arriving to profit, you have deducted how much? The salary and bonus of 18,000. So for the purpose of income tax, you can claim another level or this whatever miscellaneous disabled ni, you boleh claim another level of double deduction. Tapi mana dia Alright. Mana jawapan dia? Okay, ni. 15,000 ni is the double deduction. So 15,000 refers to your salary and bonus paid to your disabled person. So that is double deduction. However, you have to check also on the EPF. Right. So before we go into EPF, other employees, the salary and bonus is no issue, no adjustment needed. But Mr. Lim, for disabled ni apa ni? Mr. Lim punya EPF, right? Is it? Okay, this one refer to Mr. Lim punya double deduction. All right, that is the adjustment. But then for the EPF, remember that for EPF, what is the issue here? EPF is that it has to be 19% or less. But anything more than 19% is not allowed. All right, so you have to check whether the amount paid, EPF paid by the company or by the enterprise is more than 19%. So how you check is that, for example, in the case of Mr. Lim, all right, so maybe I will have my, okay lah, I buat kat sini juga lah Okay, kat mana nak buat? Okay, Mr. Lim. Let's say Mr. Lim, what is the salary and bonus is 18,000 and others. Okay, hold on. Mr. Lim, right? Salary, this one is the remuneration and others. We have here how much you pay for others. Salary and bonus for other employee, 29 plus 4.5 is 33.5. Am I right? 33,500. So EPF, it should be only 19%. So what is 19% of that 18,000? Mana I punya calculator? So So what you do is that you compute 18,000 times by 0.19. So that would be 3420, right? And the 33,500 times by 0.19 is 6365. So that is the amount which is 19% of your salary. But how much the company paid? Company paid, let's see that the company paid 3,500 here, and company also paid 6,800. So in both cases, all right, so this one is the amount paid. So in both cases, there is an excess of how much? So company paid more than they should, all right? Minus 6,800, the excess is 435. And here the excess is 3,500 minus 3,420 equals to 80. So this amount is the excess. All right. So when it's more than what you should, then this amount is non-deductible. So that's why in the adjustment, all right, we have this 80,000. All right, is added back because it's not allowed, the excess, and 435 is also not allowed, which is the excess of the 19%. So it's how you actually compute your adjustment for your mana, adjustment for EPF. All right, look at the remuneration. So normally here is the bonus and the salary. All right, so normally it's bonus and salary. Allowance is not included. Yeah, so total up your bonus and salary and then check 19% of that and how much the company paid. All right, the company paid more than 19%, so the excess is not allowed. But the company paid less than that, so disallowable, no adjustment is required. Okay. All right. So next is we have Mr. Ahmad rented a double-story shop house where he and his family occupy the first floor. So look at note number 3. Note number 3 is an expense. All right. So rental expense. So sometimes you have to make sure because it could be rental income, it could be rental expenses. So in this case, it's a rental expense, which is, in this case, siapa bayar rental expense is the enterprise that paid rental expense of 18,000. However, from this 18,000, right, the rental expense is 18,000. But from that 18,000, right, 40% is for business purpose, right? So means that if for business is allowable, then you have the 40% and the 60%. So 40% is allowable, but this one is not allowed. Why? Because this one is private. Because this one is the amount paid by the company for Mr. Ahmad rental. So that is a private expenses. So that one is not allowed. So what you do is that you take 18,000 times by 60%, you should have 18,000 times by 0.6. That's how you get 10,800, which is not allowed because this one is a private expenses of personal usage by Encik Ahmad and family. Okay? All right. And then we have the notes on, let's see again. So note number 2 done, number 3 is done, number 4. So there are 3. So for each of these items, see you have note number 4, you have 3 items. It means that the 3 items must appear in your answer. All right. So you have regular maintenance of business van, installation of aircon for the van, and road for Mr. Ahmad private car. Again, this one is private. Of course, this one is not allowed. But this one is business van, right? So maintenance is allowable. So there is a revenue expenditure and it's for the business van, right? So, and then you also have installation of aircon. But this one is a revenue, but air conditioner is a capex, capital expenditure, right? So when it's a capex, so that expenditure is not allowed. Right? So if it's not allowed, then you have to add back. But if it's allowable, remember you have to put a nil here, no adjustment. So, but then road for also, private also non-deductible. So you're going to add back that amount. So in your answer, you should have the 3 lines here: regular maintenance, installation, and road tax. Yes, in your exam, maybe you do not have the time, enough time to write the whole statement, but just put the note here. For example, in this case, this is note number 4, right? So this one is note number 4. So you have maintenance. Maintenance, you can just put a nil. See, it's a nil because it's a revenue in nature. But then the insertion of air conditioner is capex. So this one why you add back, because it's a capex. So you have to add back later. But then remember that you're going to claim capital allowance. So remember, so if you know that you're going to do something later, all right, I suggest that you highlight this. Under. All right. I suggest that you highlight this amount because you know that you're going to do adjustment later in terms of capital allowance. You're going to claim capital allowance on this asset. And remember that this asset, what is the cost? 1,500. So 1,500, even though it's a capital allowance, but it's a small value asset, means that you're going to claim 100% capital allowance. So maybe I will show you directly that later when you do your capital allowance, all right, you see that you have capital allowance on the air conditioner here, all right. So the amount is 1,005, you claim 100%. So that is a capital allowance for the air conditioner when you put a claim under at the bottom later. All right. So under capital allowance, so you have the air conditioner that you're going to claim 100%. Right. So do not forget. So that's why whenever you know that you are going to do some adjustment later, so you may want to highlight that figure. All right. So that you do not forget that, oh, I have to do something at the bottom. Similarly, right. For example, above here, we do have this one. You have to do adjustment later. And then you have interest on your fixed deposit. You have to put that under section 4C. And also you have your zakat of 2,100. Okay. Okay, now let's continue. All right. For the next one is that now we have note number 5, which is donation is in respect of 10,000 ringgit cash and 2,004 worth of books to a state library. So remember that this one is an approved donation. All right, approved donation. So this is later you're going to claim under section 44(6). All right, but then the donation here, there are two kinds of donation. One is cash, the other one is benefit in kind. But donation here is made to a state library. Right, so you have to check if a state library, whether you can claim the donation of cash and BIK or either one only. Right, so first thing is that donation here, you have to add back. Why? Because this one is not incurred in the production of income. So you add back this amount, but then later, this amount you are going to, okay, now that's why you kena highlightkan kat sini. Okay, bukan. Okay, highlightkan because why? This amount, okay, so this amount you're going to claim that later. Okay, so what happened is that your approved donation add back first, but then claim at the bottom. Where is your bottom here? You have your approved donation cash in this case to a state library. All right, so state library, which is public, open to the public. So it's allowable, all right. But maximum amount of cash is 20,000. How much you donated? How much you donated just now? Cash of 10,000, isn't it? Mana dia? Where is it? Okay, cash of 10,000. And then you have BIK of 2004. So in this case, you can claim 10,000. Okay. Is there any limit of 10%? Any limit of 10%? Right? So you will have to check on that. All right. See, non-cash item here for the library is non-claimable. So here you cannot claim any donation in the form of non-cash for state library. But the 10,000 here, can you claim everything? Maybe we'll check that under under chapter 4, chargeable income. Please check whether is there a limit on the public state library. I think that is okay because it's mentioned here the maximum is 20K. So you donated 10,000, so that's why you can claim everything. There's no restriction. Right, so I will just delete here. Right, why? Because there's a limit of 20,000 mentioned here. Okay, it's not based on the 10. 10% of your aggregate income. So that is on the approved donation. Let's come back to the note. The following note is note number 6. We have bad debts. All right. So bad debts here depends, because sometimes in this case you have the trade debt write-off. You have bad debt from loan to a relative. We have specific allowance, and then we also have general allowance. So these two are provision account, right? It's an allowance, so it's an allowance, so it's a provision account. So trade debts write off is a trade debt and then write off. So this one is allowable, right? So no adjustment for that. But then so no adjustment, right? But then bad debt from a loan to a relative, so this one is not allowed. Why? Because this is regarding personal loan to relative. So debt incurred, but then is a non-business expenses is not allowed. So you have to add back the 400 ringgit here. Specific allowance, in this case, is allowable under section 33. So let's put that under section 33. Sorry, section 34(6). All right, specific allowance. But then the general allowance is not allowed, so you have to add back. So careful, yeah, because whenever there's no adjustment, make sure that you do have it in your answer, because this one give you marks. Yeah, nil pun you have to put in your answer. Okay, now we go into insurance. In this case, we have insurance for business van. Again, this one is allowable. Insurance for business van is for business expenditure. However, life insurance for the Mr. Ahmad's wife, of course, this one is not allowed, because why? This one is a personal expenditure. And then the fire insurance of the double story shop house. So first thing, let's go. Okay, this one, the first one is nil, non-adjustment, no allowed, no adjustment, because it's a business expense. But the second one, Mr. Ahmad, is also not allowable, because that one is a personal expenditure. Any expenditure for Encik Ahmad, family, or any relative that is personal, non-deductible. But the third one, we have the fire insurance for the double storage shop house. So remember that this double storage shop house, the expenses here incurred, remember that 40% is for business, 60% is the for the family. So the 60% is not allowed. So similarly, so firehouse here, from the 2,000, 40% is allowable, but 16% is non-deductible. So you times 2,000 times by 0.6. So that's how you add back 1,600. Why you add back 1,600? This one is a personal expenditure. Again, the 60% portion of the shop house. Okay. Okay. And then the following notes, he said that it was agreed by RB that 2/3 of the water used by Ahmad and his family. So remember, this one is note number, I think it's not the number 5. It's note number 8. Yeah. So it was agreed then 2/3 of what? Note number 8. What is mentioned in note number 8? Note number 8 is the electricity. Right? And from this electricity, it was told that 2/3 is for, right? 2/3 is for Mr. Ahmad and family. So this 2/3 amount is not allowed, right? So from here, we have 2/3 is not allowed. So what is 2/3 of 4,008? 4,008 times by 2/3. So you should get 3,200, which is not allowed. So that should appear in your answer lah. Right, from the 4,008, 3,002 is not allowed. The 60%, the 2/3 portion of the electricity. So you add back, because this one is for personal usage again. All right. So this one note number 8. I believe this one is note number 9. Entertainment expenses. So Hari Raya gathering for staff and family. So again, staff and family, this one is allowable. No adjustment. Nil. Okay. Entertainment allowance to entertain client, this one is 50% allowed, 50% not allowed. So whenever you see entertainment allowance, all right, so that is only 50%. So from here, the expenses incurred is 2008. We only allow 50%. So another 50% is added back. Leave passage for employee for the excellent work. Again, leave passage for the enterprise is not allowed. Right. So this one is under section 39. Leave passage is not allowed. And then wedding of Mr. Ahmad daughter. Again, this one is personal expenses. All right. This one is not allowed as well. So very straightforward. All right. And then we have note number 10 where it says that miscellaneous expense include 5,000 fine, right? Fine, this is a penalty, is not deductible. And 200 annual fee for the traders. So the fine is not allowed, so you have to add back, but the annual fee. So there are two types of fee here. Is one is the entrance fee, the other one is the annual fee. Annual fee is okay, but entrance fee is not allowed, non-deductible. But in this case, annual fee for association, trade association, normally this one is allowable. So that's why there's no adjustment there. Okay. And from here, that is the end of the notes to the accounts, isn't it? Because the following notes, all right, we have this note number 10 done. So balancing charge will be the following expenses. So from here, you compute your adjusted income. All right. But remember that there's a one tick here, but the tick here normally for the term. So what do I mean by the term here? All right. It refers to the term of this adjusted income. So make sure that you have the right term written there. Even though the figure here, no mark for the figure. All right. Because many of you may not be the right, may not get the exact figure lah. Yeah. But don't forget to have this adjusted income. So these are the terms that may give you marks. And then you, based on the information, all right, we have, if here, we have a balancing charge, all right, of 4,003 and a capital allowance of 8,008. So this information, you plug in the information, you have a balancing charge, 4,003. Right? And then capital allowance given as 8,008, but do not forget that, all right, the air conditioner that we have just now, all right, the air conditioner in the, which is recorded under profit and loss, all right, we have air conditioner of 1,005, but because the value is less than 2,000 ringgit, we are going to claim 100%. A rate is 100% allowance. So we're going to claim 1,500 also. So from here, you should get a statutory income of 94,755. Again, the mark here given is for the term, which is the statutory income. So do not forget to have that term, all right, clearly mentioned in your answer. And then, all right, it was also given information that there was an unabsorbed business loss amounted to 16,000. So you plug in this information under after statutory income of 16,000. Okay. And now come to your section 4C income. Right, section 4C income here, you have a dividend under single tier, dividend is exempted. And for individual resident, yeah, so interest on fixed deposit is also exempted. Yeah, but later when you do company in your tax 2, all right, for company, the interest on fixed deposit is taxable. Only for individual resident is exempted, right? From there, you get aggregate income. See another level of, you have another term that can give you one more tick, aggregate income of 78755. Then minus a donation that we have agreed earlier that we can only claim the 10,000 ringgit cash, but the BIK donated is non-deductible. From there, you get your total income. Right? So you see that the total marks, total ticks here, we have 40, but again, this one is not, yeah, we only take a maximum of 40 ticks, all right? And then for 30 marks, so that will be your marks lah, how many ticks that you have. So we have indicated the marks for your question number 3. Okay, so for that, all right, I think we covered that in how much, what's the time now? right, 40 minutes. And remember that in your exam, all right, in your final exam, normally you have 4 questions for 3 hours. So please allocate your time, maybe 30 minutes for this question, right? So maybe, all right, try to allocate 30 minutes for this question so that you can give full more time for other more difficult question, right? Normally, question number 1 is the longest lah. This one is question number 3, right? What was question number 2? Oh, sorry. This one is question number 2, right? So this one is question number 2. Question number 1 is the longest lah. And then you have your capital allowance. And then you have your partnership. Okay. So we have covered your revision on business income expenses. Okay. For that, I hope that this tutorial or this revision will help you to do a lot more exercises on this topic and hope that you can score this topic in your final exam. All right. So with that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.